Hello guys, I want to share an important fact with all of you. The world map that you see on your screen is wrong. The world map that Google Maps uses is wrong. As we all know, our earth is a sphere, so you cannot represent sphere in two-dimensional flat surface. Let me explain how. For example, if you try to draw world map on an orange and peel it to obtain world map, you won't succeed without distorting shape and size. There are different kinds of maps. Most popular of them is the Mercator projection, created by Flemish geographer slash cartographer Gerardus Mercator. This map is extensively used due to wide-ranging benefits. Number 1. Size. India on map looks similar to India on globe. Second but most important reason is nautical navigation. This map was designed in such a way that distance between 2 points on map using compass is exactly equal to that on globe. Hence this map was extensively used for nautical navigation. But if you are smart enough, you would have noticed that it is not the shortest route between 2 points on globe, but at least this map provides a reliable way to travel across the ocean using compass. The reason why Gerardus was able to preserve direction was by varying the distance between latitude by forming right angles. Due to these right angles, this map gained significance in Google Maps. However, this created a new problem. The place where Mercator fails is representation of size. Take for instance Greenland. Greenland looks massive. It's almost similar to Africa in size. But in reality, when you drag Greenland towards Africa at the equator, it would reveal its true shape and size. Surprisingly, Greenland is 14 times smaller than Africa. On first glance, you could fit almost 3 Australias in Greenland. But in reality, when you place Greenland next to Australia, you would discover that Greenland is smaller than Australia. Shockingly, it's even smaller than India. This occurs due to phenomena of distortion of shape and sizes. If you draw points at different latitude on the globe and convert them into Mercator form, you observe that the point on globe at the equator are equal in map form as well. However, the rate of distortion increases as they are placed near the pole. From this little experiment, we conclude that as we move towards the pole and away from the equator, shape and size distortion occurs. Thus, the object placed at the equator reveals its true shape and size. Same phenomena occurs in case of country shape and size. Spoiler alert! There is an amazing website by the name of truesizemap.com where you can try this out. Let's talk about Russia, the largest country on this planet. At first glance, Russia looks almost similar to Africa in size. But when you drag Russia towards Africa near the equator, Russia reveals its true shape and size. Due to this, Russia would lose 53% of its size at the equator. Don't get me wrong, Russia is humongous, but it's not as close to what it originally was. On first glance, you could fit about 4 contingent United States inside Russia. But in reality, when you drag Russia towards contingent United States, you realize that Russia isn't that big, which could fit almost 2 contingent United States within itself. Now let's talk about Chile. Chile is very long, so long that when placed over United States, extends up to US border with Canada. It is even longer than the entire length of Atlantic Ocean at a point between North American continent and Europe. Same goes for South America and Africa. Chile is so long that it could easily connect Dublin in Ireland to Jerusalem in Israel. The United Kingdom seems a pretty big country in Europe. When placed next to New Zealand, we get a picture that UK isn't that big. For starters, United Kingdom is small in comparison to places like the Japan, the Philippines, Oman and Yemen. France is the biggest country in Western Europe. Looks smaller when placed near Venezuela, Bolivia and Peru. Let's talk about land of maple syrup, Canada, the second biggest country on this planet. Canada looks colossal on this map. But when we drag Canada near China, we realize that Canada is only a little bit bigger than China. Now let's talk about 49th US state on map, Alaska. Alaska looks huge, but when you drag Alaska towards continental US, you realize that Alaska loses considerable size. We say everything is big in Texas, but how big Texas really is? For starters, when you track Texas towards Europe, Texas looks bigger than countries like France, Spain, and Germany, and it is even bigger than the European part of Russia. Well, let's talk about richest US state, California. When we track California towards Scandinavian countries, California seems substantial. California is even bigger than countries like Norway, Finland, and United Kingdom. However, let's not forget about the most shy continent, Antarctica. Antarctica, with its 14,000 square kilometers of size, is bigger than every country in this world except Russia. Now let's talk about the Jupiter of Africa, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Placing Congo over Europe, Congo becomes gigantic and covering important cities like Barcelona in Spain to Hamburg in Germany to finally Athens in Greece, and it was ruled by this tiny little Belgium for decades. Next on the list is Indonesia. When you place Indonesia towards United States, you realize that Indonesia is really big. Next, when you drag Indonesia towards Russia, it becomes massive. And when you place it towards Europe, it would diminish any other European country, and it was ruled by the Dutch for centuries. Let's not forget about the elephant in the room, Brazil. Brazil is massive, and its location near the equator adds an extra advantage to its size. When you place Brazil on Europe, it would outshine any other country in Europe. The Indian subcontinent, which was ruled entirely by Britain, is almost the same size of all countries west of Ukraine. And that's not the only British colony. Let's talk about Australia, a genuine continent in its own right, which is comparable to Europe and even the United States, comes closer to Europe in size. That's one of the points I wanted to make in this video. Most people think Europe as pretty big continent, but the map reveals Europe the size that she isn't. The land that Europeans went and conquered were massive. The world is an extremely big place and Europe is just a part of it. This was all about Mercator map projection. There are different types of map. Take for instance Gall-Peters projection, which represents somewhat correct size but widely distort shape. All of this would change in later 20th century when satellites started orbiting around the Earth and sending the pictures of Earth, which in turn would reveal the true size of countries on globe. Many believe that the Mercator map was designed by Europeans for fostering their imperial ambitions on Third World, which could certainly be true. Due to wide-ranging problems, in 1998, the National Geographic Society adopted the Winkel-Triple projection as standard for general world maps, as it would produce less distortion in comparison to its other counterparts. Still, you want to represent globe on flat map. These problems would persist till someone comes with a crazy fix. Until then, let things be the way they